and welcome back to Devils United. It's going to be the final of the Euro 2022 now. And we'll be doing a preview rather than a prediction show. But we've got Andy and Chloe. Andy, how are you? Doesn't sound like you're happy about the Euros ending, though.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's been a great. To be honest, it's been a great few weeks. It's been a great month in July for me personally, and also for what we managed to do as a group and the Euros. It's took me about a month to get out of my Man United bias, which Chloe actually helped me out with initially in the final friendly. Now next week I've got to remember it and go back into it again ready for the next season. So it'll take me a month to get back to hating City. So it's one of those.
Well, at least you've got enough time to start having that derby feeling back in your stomach anyway. Chloe, how are you?
Hi, Maisy. Yeah, I'm good. Glad to be back on the channel. But yeah, gutted that the Euros are ending. It's been such a great time, obviously, seeing everyone again after the season's ended and obviously meeting new people throughout the Euros. But it's going to be great at Wembley tomorrow. Gutted you can't be there. But you'll be cheering on from the United ground as it is.
Yeah, I certainly will be. Hey there, Rabba, who's in the chat. Hope you're well. So before we do a preview for tomorrow's game, I thought I'd quickly go through the predictions for the semi-finals because they were quite interesting ones. And we'll start with England versus Sweden. And overall, I predicted 1-0 for England. Andy predicted 2-0 for England. Chloe predicted 2-1 for England. So we all predicted the right win. But it was a very high-scoring game, that's for sure. Andy, what do you think about the predictions in the game?
I think if anyone had said 4-0 beforehand, you would have been like, no. We would almost be too worried about jinxing it. I mean, it's funny because we were lucky enough to be at the stadium, so we didn't obviously have to hear the comms or anything like that. But I've seen like commentators and journos in the past, say things like, which was true apparently, which was essentially that we would never have beaten Sweden at that point. And stuff like that. And, if you'd heard that sort of when it was at 0-0, you would have been in even more of a torturous situation than we were. I mean, it was a brilliant game. It was a fantastic atmosphere. A couple of points I'm sure Chloe will elaborate on it as well. Obviously, 28,000. So what's that? Just under half of Old Trafford. However, a lot more noise than Old Trafford. Yeah, I would say it was a proper football. For England, it was the closest I've ever heard to a sort of Barmy Army situation. We had chanting, we had noise, we had people watching the game. Yes, there was Mexican ways towards the end, but not after 20 minutes and people messing around with beach ball or something like that. And it was just fantastic to be there. And obviously, it's been a great game for women's football, apart from anything else, for Alicia Russo's back heel, which is kind of the back heel that's gone around the world. Everybody's talked about it. Everybody's seen it, and it's kind of been the main way that's brought people in to watch on Sunday, which is brilliant, I suppose, for the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And actually, you did predict Russo to score.
I didn't predict the back heel though. I don't think anybody would have predicted that.
Chloe did predict Beth Mead to score, which she was the first goal scorer for England. For you, Chloe, what did you think of the game being live?
The game was incredible for me. I think the atmosphere, the whole night, from the start to the full-time whistle to seeing all the players enjoying themselves and even the crowd enjoying themselves through doing all this, the Sweet Caroline and all the other songs and stuff. But for me, Russo's back heel, like Andy said, it's gone around the world. It's one of them that it's going to be remembered for years to come. And if it's not goal of the tournament, I don't know what else would be.
Mm.
So that has to be goal of the tournament. But I'm glad that it was 5 different, the goal scores with different players. It weren't all the same ones.
Yeah.
So obviously you had Beth Mead, you had Russo, you had Lucy Bronze, and who was the other one? Frank Kirby.
Frank Kirby's goal was terrific as well.
Yeah, that was a very good cheeky goal through chipping the keeper, and obviously we were like on the opposite side when that goal happened, and we were all looking up at the monitor because we couldn't see it clearly, and we all thought it just missed. But then when you saw it went in, like it was just incredible, and it was just an insane goal. And then obviously seeing the replay of Russo's goal, that was just insane, and how she had vision, like how she even thought of it. Like she even said in an interview afterwards that it was the only thing she could do quickly without turning round and turning the ball and having them defenders come to her. So the quick thinking of Russo and that back heel, what a goal and what an atmosphere, like I said. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. I thought Sweden were good, but they just didn't have the shooting boots on. They did for like the first 5-10 minutes before England started to get going, but they just couldn't find the back of the net. And I think if you predicted 4-0 before that, you'd have thought England would have beaten Sweden beforehand. But then when they haven't been beaten, when like we haven't beaten them before, it's like, why haven't we? We can do it. Why haven't we beaten them? So I think it was good that we've now beaten Sweden, and hopefully that can give us the initiative and the want to go and beat Germany for the first time, because obviously we haven't.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. England for me was absolutely outstanding, and I done the watch along myself, so I would have had it from a different point of view watching on the TV. The first half an hour before Beth Mead scored, I was feeling so sick. And the reason why, Morley, is because Sweden was the better team until then. And I was thinking, oh my God, we could lose it here. We're going to be done for. And I was getting annoyed as well at some of the players, because I felt like, especially there was occasions for me with Stanway, for instance, where she was giving the ball so cheaply in the midfield. I don't have an agenda, before people want to say. But she was giving the ball away so cheaply, and I thought, if she keeps giving this ball away, you got the likes of Asalani and Blackstenius who are going to take the ball off her and going to try and shoot. And that was what worries me more, because you can get that little bit of possession when it's the likes of Northern Ireland. You've got that a little bit more runway, but when you're doing it against the likes of Sweden, you're doing it against Spain, or you're doing it against Germany, you can't afford to do things like that. And when you do have the ball, you've got to be very cautious of it. And I just felt like England wasn't cautious enough for me. And I'd even say the same with Lauren Hemp. She was the exact same, especially until Beth Mead scored. When Beth Mead scored, I think it was kind of way, it was game over in Sweden's heads. It wasn't game over on the score sheet, but it was game over in Sweden's head, because they kind of crumbled to think, oh, I wasn't expecting this. And they wasn't the same Sweden what we have seen. But I think overall, Sweden was quite underwhelming in the whole tournament. There wasn't no standout performances. Even that 5-0 against Portugal, I still don't see it as them standout kind of performances. I just think with the talent they've got and the ranking what everyone goes off, you'd expect them to be battering teams on a constant basis. But I think what I like about Serena, she's defining all the odds, because you've seen it all over the Sky Sports. England never won against Sweden. Sweden scored over 10 goals against us in 2 games, and people think, oh, that's it, then we're done for. But we got there, and we won. And we've got the record now for the highest score in a semi-finals. So that's also terrific. Hey there to my dad who's in the chat. I hope you are well. Ravi said England have been fantastic, been playing a lot of quality. Yep, I agree. Ravi said Beth England has been England's best player. My dad thinks Kira Walsh was one, and I do completely agree with Kira Walsh. She's been amazing. Vincent, hey there to you. Thank you for coming into the chat, and everyone else looks like they're talking about the game what's just happened. But we'll go quickly now on to Germany versus France, and I'll do the scores for that. I went for 2-0 for Germany. Andy went for 3-1 for Germany, and Chloe went for 2-1 for Germany. So, Chloe, you got the score right. I'm sure you're happy about that. I got my guaranteed goal scorer for Alessandra Pop. So, we all got our guaranteed goal scorers for the semi-finals. And I'll go with you, Andy, because you did a watch along with me. So, you've seen it from my own eyes, both our eyes. So,
yeah.
What did you think of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how, they talk about me on to the next game. It was only a couple of days ago, but I'm trying to remember it because I'm fully in England mode now, ready to pack for tomorrow. But no, I mean, it was a good game. I think that, it probably happened the way we thought it would happen. At no point did I think Germany was going to lose. But France just didn't have the firepower, to break them down. I think everybody knew that it was written in the stars to be England v Germany at the final, and we just kind of had to watch it sort of play out a little bit. Obviously, Pop scoring, she's going to be a big threat because she's very, very confident. She's very comfortable. She is very physical. She is a German Georgia Stanway. And just to reference quickly what happened with Sheffield, I remember last time with Sweden, I remember last time saying that Georgia needs a yellow if that's a natural goal scorer. That's a natural temperament. Otherwise, she can turn it on and off. And of course, she went back to doing what she does at City and got a yellow at the England-Sweden game. So don't do that again, Georgia, tomorrow, please. That'll be fine. Be back to the whole no getting cards thing. I think to be honest, Germany showed like a little bit what's been said today in the press conference. Their confidence. They just know, they almost know they're going to win. It's not like they believe they're going to win. They almost know they're going to win. And I noticed that the manager, I don't believe this is a mistranslation, but it was a quote from one of the journalists. It was talking about because she used to be a player, and when she won the German from Germany in 1989. The prize that she got for winning was the tea set. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
It was actual, cups and saucers and all that stuff, right? That's what she got, and that's where we are. That's where we've come from. And then as part of saying, because I asked her about the game growing, and she said, obviously, yeah, it's much better than that. And she said, when we win tomorrow, not if or should we be lucky, like you would say for the England manager. She said, when we win tomorrow, it will feel as good as it did then in 1989. And it was just that little element makes you think, okay, that's why Pop walks around the pitch like she does. That's why Obersdorf does that, because they just think tomorrow they're going to win. There's no jeopardy. They're going to win, and that's what England's got to go against, because we've never fought like that before, and we've come the closest in my lifetime to thinking like that with the Serena.
Mm-hmm. Chloe, what do you think as well of the Germany France game? Because you did predict the score right, which I'm sure you're happy about.
Yeah, I'm actually happy about that. I actually thought I predicted 3-1, so it was great to hear that I predicted 2-1. But yeah, I thought when it was 1-1, I thought it was going to stay that way. I thought it was going to head into extra time penalties, which I thought then that's gonna be like a good thing for us, because then they'll be a bit more tired. But obviously when the goal went in, that second goal, it was like it's a fairy tale. Pop to score, take him into the Euros final, and on the same goals as now Beth Mead, which obviously is a threat for us. But luckily, Beth's ahead for us in terms of that she's got more assists.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it's going to work. If both of them don't score, which I highly unlikely doubt, like I think they will score, both of them. But I think that if they don't, it goes on assists. So if Beth Mead provides an assist for Hemp or Russo or Frank Kerber, then she's gonna end up being kept at the top of the goal scoring records. But we just got to make sure we keep Pop away from the goal, and she's the biggest threat, like Andy said. She really is. She wants to win this as much as Germany and the manager want to win this. She's missed out on it 3 times, and twice of them was when they won it. and the third one was when obviously in the Netherlands when they got knocked out by Denmark. So it's gonna be one of them that she's gonna go out there and do her best, and she won't care if she gets a yellow card, a red card, an injury. She'll keep playing until it's full time or end of extra time or penalties, because that's one thing we're going to have to think of. We're going to have to think that it could go to penalties and extra time, and it's, for me, that's where I'm worried about if it does. Not more so of the extra time, because I think we can do it. It's more so of the penalties at the end where I'm worried. But in terms of Germany, they've got a good forward, they've got a good midfield, but I don't think their defence is as good as ours. So I think if we can attack more, if we can pressure more, I think we can get through there if we just play the game and don't get into Germany's heads, but don't let them get into ours. So for me, we've got to keep Pop away from the area. We've got to we've just got to keep Pop away, and because she's our main threat. And if we can have that with Lee Williamson and Millie Bright defending her, then for me, I think we've got a great chance. And I can see both teams scoring, but the score is going to be big. I think it's not going to just be a 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. It's going to be big. They're going to go out and want to score this, especially in front of a massive crowd. I know obviously we're going to touch on it a bit more in a few minutes, but France had that where they could have won the game, and they had them chances, but they just didn't take them. Didn't take them against them. So I think for France not to have made it so well, and I think they only conceded 2 goals, if I'm right, which was Iceland, and then the 2 goals from Germany. They conceded 3 goals in total, which is really good. But didn't go up to that stage where you would have beat Germany. It's hard to play, and Germany is beat, and they're going to dominate most of the game, I think.
Yeah, I think what Germany will do, because Germany's kind of one of them teams where I've noticed that they're comfortable on and off the ball, and we've seen that a lot in all their games. And England, for me, are a bit more when they don't have the ball, because they like possession of the ball, they like to keep hold of the ball. And what I think will end up happening is that they'll play as that counter-attacking team compared to England, and they'll try and I think they'll try and look at the weaker players in the squad for England, who they think the weaker team is. So you look at the back line, and we're seeing a couple of times where Rachel Daly's been caught out. Are they going to look at targeting Rachel Daly in the back line? The midfield, are they going to look at aiming for Stanway because she gives away possession? Are they going to look at aiming as well at Ellen White because she's the offside queen, let's just say? And you look at them kind of things, and I think that's what Germany will look. They're kind of, in a way, they're a bit like machines in that kind of way, where they've really, really drilled on. And I've noticed it a lot. But in the past 2 games for Germany, there have been them a couple of times where I think, Germany could have done a little bit better there. But I think they could have got a lot more than 2-1 against France, because they had a lot more opportunities than just to get to the 2-1. And so did France. They could have got a lot more than the 1 goal as well. I think what probably hurt them the most was Kakako.
Antoinette Potato, yeah.
Yeah, I think if they didn't lose her, I think it would have been a whole different kind of story going into that Germany game, just because they've got that proper goal scorer there. We'll go on to the game now anyway. And my dad did have a good question. Do you think Russo changed the game when she come on? And for me, I think Russo changes the game every time she does come on. We always know that she's always going to be a guaranteed starter at Manchester United. And the way that she has used Serena and Tuna, I think is quite clever. Is the fact that she has been using them both as super subs, and it's been working. You've seen the effectiveness of taking Ellen White off and Kirby, whoever she decides to take off, bringing these two on, who has got very strong legs, who is quick, who is hungry. As you look at both of them, it's their first European tournament, so they're going to want to work really, really hard. So I think every game Russo has played, she has been effective, and she's got 4 goals, 1 assist, and she's played 200 minutes, which is 187 minutes less than Beth Mead, and 161 minutes less than Pop, and she's only 2 goals behind him. So imagine if she played the extra 161 minutes, how many goals would she have got there? Because that's what equivalent of just under two games that she's not played. But we'll go with you, Chloe, as well, about Russo being a game changer.
Yeah, 100%. She's definitely a game changer. Me and Andy were saying this at half time at the Sweden-England match, and we're saying like they use Ellen White and Frank Kirby to tire the defence out, and then you bring on the fresh legs, whether it is Lesser, Tuna, your Chloe Kelly, and your Alex Greenwood. They bring them on because the fresh legs, the quick, and you tired the defence out. So with Lesser, I would like her to start. She deserves to start. But for me, I think her coming on as a game changer is exactly what we need, and it's exactly what we'll need against Germany. She's quick, she's feisty, but she's also unpredictable because we don't know what she can do. We don't know, like the surprise of the back heel is one thing. So what else could she provide? So I think for me, with Leicester being a game changer, it's 100% true, and I can't see them being any changes to the starting 11, especially from what the call of Serena said to the press when asked. She got asked if there's any changes, and she was like, "I'm not saying anything about that. But all 23 are fit." So she weren't going into the detail on if there's any changes going to be in the starting 11. So you never know if there's going to be that slight change of Ellen White being on bench and Russo starting. But it's one of them. Do you want to change the tactics? Do you want to change the lineup? So it's one of them. But yeah, definitely Russo is a game changer. What do you think, Andy?
I agree with what you're saying, and I agree she won't change it, but I probably would change it only because Ellen White is about as dangerous as a butter knife. I never particularly feel that we're going to score when she's got the ball. And against Germany, all right, their defense isn't as strong, but their goalkeeper is equal to Mary Earps, if not better, depending on your viewpoint. I probably will never say that. You could almost reverse it. And the only benefit I could see is if you started with, instead of Frank Kirby and Ellen White, if you started with Tooney and Russo, you have the same youth and energy. Oh, God, I sound like Skinner saying energy. Jesus. You get the same youth and what they bring. I think they're more of a goal threat, and they could possibly get more goals initially. Then you might have to do it, as I say, in reverse and take them off, which sounds mental. Why would you take them off? But then you're putting on 2 players that are very experienced in case we get to penalties. Otherwise, you go the other way around. You're putting Russo on and Tooney on and taking Kirby and Ellen White off in a situation where you could be asking to take penalties in front of 87,000 people to win the European Euros final, you know. And that's the only way I can see maybe where, and also as well, because she hasn't changed her starting lineup, I think it would be a sufficient curveball, because Germany would have had 17 angles in 4K of them of their starting lineup now, you know what I mean, since they started. And I think it would unhinge them because they wouldn't expect it. But I don't think she'll do that. I think she'll stick with what she knows. But if it is 1-1, or if it is 2-2, or if it is 0, especially if it's 0-0, it's going to be a heck of a call to take Ellen White off and Frank Kirby off. Let's hope not Beth Mead, because that would be Serena doing her best Mark Parsons impression, and putting those two on, because you'd essentially be betting really to win the game in 90 minutes or 120 minutes. I don't really know. I don't know. My memory's not a bit sketchy these days. I don't even know if Russo's took a penalty for United or Tooney has or anything like that. They're not our penalty takers. And you probably would want Ellen White taking that penalty if needed. So that's the only
Kirby as well.
Yeah, that's the only difficulty that I have. I'll be interested to see what you think about that as well, Maisy and Chloe.
Yeah. Before I touch on, hey there, Renee. I hope that you are well. I think the thing is, I can see why Serena doesn't change the starting 11, because you get that little bit of consistency in the team. But when you've looked at it a lot with teams who don't change the starting lineup, we've seen it with United this season. We've had the same lineup constantly, and that is where teams observe and they start sniffing out. And it's always good to make a couple of changes, even if it's the odd one or odd two, because even for me, I wouldn't even mind Greenwood starting in the final. I know, and the reason for that is what I like about Greenwood playing as a centre-back role is that she moves the ball forward for Walsh, and she puts Walsh in better positions. And I think that's the kind of freedom for Walsh that she needs in this kind of final. I think it'll relax her a lot better as well. So personally, if I was going to do it, I would have took Williamson out the centre-back, put her as a midfielder, because she's very versatile in that respect. She can play as the midfield, play her to box, Walsh is defensive midfielder, and then put Greenwood in the midfield, in the centre-back. That's what I would personally do. I think the odd one or two changes is great. And Russo, I would love to see starting as well. Even if Ellen White didn't play, we still got Beth England, who can easily take a penalty for me as well. She hasn't actually played any minutes, considering you've seen Nikita Paris play a couple more minutes more than Beth England.
You had to mention it, didn't you? You had to mention it.
I had to. You'll be seeing her in a few days' time on the Man United's website, but I do wonder what. And Demi Stokes, she's also not played a single minute. Jess Carter is another one.
Yes.
So, I wonder what Serena has in mind. But what are you thinking for you, Chloe, in terms of the 11 and everything you wanted to touch on?
In terms of obviously changes in the starting 11, I agree with you, Maisy. I think the only change needed is really Rachel Daly out and Alex Greenwood on, because of her pace and her passing and crosses as well. Because the crosses that she can bring in, especially from corners and free kicks, is what we need against a German side. And they do have tall players in their squad. So to get the crosses in how we want them in has got to be higher. So I think for me, I think Alex Greenwood is one of them that deserves to start. Mm-hmm. She needs to start, in my opinion. And yeah, if we start lesser, then happy days. I'm happy for her. I want her to start, but I don't think that's going to happen, because she's such a game changer. And I think Serena will be thinking, who can I bring on with fresh legs and who are good at penalties? Because Ellen White is good at penalties. She's a penalty taker. But we don't know who is our penalty takers in England. We know
different ones all the time, don't we?
Exactly. We know who they are for club, but we don't know for country. It can change through managers. It can change through each game and each tournament, depending on who you bring in. It's like Jordan Nobbs, who obviously is missing from the squad. She is a penalty taker, and we know that because she takes penalties at Arsenal. But she's one of them that she would play, and then you would potentially take her off to bring on, for instance, another midfielder, like Georgia Stanway if Georgia weren't starting. So it's one of them that you do think that everyone's going to be a penalty taker. All forwards are penalty takers. So you've just got to think of who am I guaranteed that will score in a penalty, and who is taking them for club. That's what you've got to guarantee. And like everyone would have been practicing. Even the defenders will be practicing.
Yeah.
You've got
Okay.
your five players, and then you've got the rest that will have to take. And then obviously, if it comes down to it, obviously we know through watching the men's football, it can sometimes go down to the keeper.
Oh dear.
That's what we don't want.
That's when I start feeling sick. When it happened with Man United's men's team, it was against in the Europa League final. When De Gea was the one who took the penalty, I was like, oh my God. And I literally had in the face like this because I couldn't handle it anymore.
Just to press you though, what I'm saying though, you lose Ellen White as a penalty taker if you do what she's done in the last few games. It's a lot to ask for Russo to take a penalty at the final. You'd want Ellen. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you'd want Ellen White taking the penalty over Russo, wouldn't you?
It's one of them that you'd want everyone to be able to take penalties, but the manager has to make them decisions to change the game. And if that means that we start Ellen White, Frank Kirby, Lauren Hemp, Beth Mead, and then we end up taking off Ellen White for Russo, Frank Kirby for Tuna, Hemp or Mead for Chloe Kelly, and then Rachel Daly either comes on or Demi Stoke comes on. You're gonna take penalty takers off. You are, and you are gonna take them players off that will have been thinking, I'm gonna take a penalty. This is like, especially if you go into extra time, and we get that extra player that gets given. Yeah. So you're gonna have that pressure that I'm still on the pitch, I'm gonna take a penalty, but you know that you're probably worried. Even the people on the bench, even the players on the bench are going to be worried because they're going to think, if I'm going on, I could potentially be taking a penalty. So it doesn't matter who's on the pitch or who comes off the pitch or who comes off the bench. Everyone will be knowing that if they go on the pitch, if they play, they will be potentially going to be doing a penalty. And it's one of them that if we lose Georgia Stanway, in terms of that either she goes off as a sub or she gets sent off, she is our number one penalty taker. She is the one that takes our penalties when we've been given penalties. So she's a guaranteed penalty taker, which I can't see her being taken off for in any way, of shape or form, unless she gets injured or she's sent off.
Yeah,
I just can't see it. But what's your views?
I mean, to be honest, I agree. I mean, the problem is I'm thinking about like a compare and contrast. Sort of first half against Sweden, it was very, very equal. We thought we were going to end up with a sort of 51-49 kind of like punch by punch, same reach kind of thing. And then second half we were a lot better, but we did also score in the first half. I just don't know whether or not Germany's going to get Ellen White's number within the first 15 minutes. And then you'd be like, right, okay, what are we going to do now? Kind of thing. Because I've never seen her as a threat, really. She hasn't got the pace. She's good. She's a good header. She's good on set pieces. But it's kind of almost like the way I was thinking about the game today in preparation of this. It's almost like we have to get over the period where we've got Ellen White up front before we then switch it. And I'm thinking, if I was a German manager, I'd be thinking, right, we need to attack from the get-go and have a strong first 20 minutes and put England on the back foot. But then also, I can also argue myself out of it, because I think one of the reasons why Serena has been so successful is that she plays with no safety net. Yeah, we could win a game either in 90, in 120, or on penalties. But she's always set her team up and always treated the game, and it's probably the best way of doing it, that you're going to win in 90. And then if 90 goes, like England, Spain, I'm going to win 120. And maybe in the past, with some men's managers in England, but also, with God's gift to women's football, Phil Neville and stuff like that, They have tried to think with penalties in mind while you were still in normal time and lost the game. So, it is kind of in Serena we trust. I think she is a top class manager. I think she's changed the game for England completely. I probably don't think England knew who they were signing. They just knew she'd won it last time round, and they've managed to, the FA's meant to do something brilliant and get this person in, and it's fantastic. I was slightly frustrated how Phil Neville, when he was asked at Inter Miami, kind of half tried to take credit for the start of this, because it's like a drunk driver taking credit for the car still being there. He was a terrible manager, and he openly said that he used the women's football as a stepping stone. So I wouldn't want him to have been anybody who won anything with England. And I think Serena, is a fantastic manager. I was reading today that she has got 2 teenage daughters. She's a bit of a role model. She's a former PE teacher as well, which is kind of cool if you can imagine it. Probably going back to the sort of playground. And her versus an ex-player in Germany. Whoever wins is going to be the best manager. It's going to be in the best team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Before I go on to this question, just want to say hi to Helen, and I'll go to Ravi's question before I have my own question. Thoughts on Jill Scott when she's played? To be honest, when I have seen Jill Scott, there hasn't been anywhere where I say Jill Scott has been bad or Jill Scott's done this, Jill Scott's done that. She's just played a part on the pitch. I think, for me, in my opinion, she's a great role model to have for the likes of Tooney, Lesser, Chloe Keller. I think she's one of them great representations, especially knowing that she's actually the only England player left who was from the 2009 final. So she'll be able to pep talk with these players and say, right, try to encourage them the kind of mindset to come into in the game, and to help them calm the nerves. And if, for instance, they feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, they can look at Jill Scott for that representation. So for me, I do genuinely think that Jill Scott has been great when she has played, but I just think she's a good role model for the team. And I think that's probably more what Serena has looked for coming into the Euros, rather than thinking Jill Scott's going to be an automatic start, and she's looking at her for more an experienced type of player, if you agree, Ander.
Yeah, she brings height, and I agree. And again, I've always said Serena's been, fair as well as everything else. Jill Scott's in the twilight of her career. Whether it be this season or next season, she's going to retire soon. I think it's obvious. But she's not there yet. Steph Houghton is there. I know it was more about injury, but trust me, she was there in the sense of internationals. So she's picked her, and she plays her in exactly the same place I thought she would. On the bench, as you say, in a mental role in camp, a steady hand, but she also is tall. So again, I would expect to see her maybe for the dying minutes of the game. Obviously, again, we've sort of tripped. We all seem to be wishing penalties here, which, trust me, if we get that, we'll both.
I don't want penalties.
Yeah, but again, I'd have her on for penalties because of how experienced she is. I think you'd want your experienced players most experienced players on the pitch at that time. Maybe actually, if it was extra time, should be the additional sub that Serena would use. With the last 5-10 minutes of extra time. Honestly, don't shoot me if I'm right on this, but I keep thinking it's now going to be penalties because of how much we're talking about it. I'm getting a feeling, and Chloe's giving me that picture like she's going to kill me when she sees me in the morning. I'll have to do that. There we go. That's better. I'm just covering her face on the screen. I think it'd be great for her to put that to bed. She probably thought in 2009, especially the way England's been since then, that she's never going to have a chance again to beat Germany. Certainly at Wembley, because I don't know, but I don't think the 2009 final was at Wembley. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. I think obviously Germany smacked us at a friendly in 2019 because I was there in the November. I can't remember the score, but I know that they really did, and that was the first time I saw Steph Houghton blowing after 80 minutes with her hands on her knees, and that was in 2019. not 2022. So yeah, just go back to Jill Scott. I think she's going to be a mentor. She's going to be a steady hand, kind of thing. But if it does get a penalty, she'll probably come on in extra time.
Mm-hmm. What have you thought as well for you, Jill Scott, Chloe?
I think she's been a great addition to the squad. She's in the later stages of her career. She's come on for them minutes, and the reception she gets when she comes on is incredible. The atmosphere just erupts, and I think we all know that she's a player with experience. She's a player who knows nearly every team that we've played, and like you've both said, she's the only player who is there from the 2009 squad, who had the likes of Kelly Smith, Alex Scott,
probably Rachel Brown-Finnis was in it,
and others, and it's one of them that she's gonna know what we need to do in terms of beating Germany, and she's one of the few that have beaten Germany in the 2015 Women's World Cup third place playoff, where we won bronze and where Farrell Williams scored on a penalty in extra time to make us win the bronze medal against Germany, who had a strong side. So for me, we've got that experience from Jill, and yet I agree she's a mentor. She's a player coach for me, even though we don't know that. I think she is. I think is one of them that she'll step aside, let the youngsters play. She'll watch from afar and coach a bit and help Serena out. And I think if it does come down to extra time, I agree with Andy. I do think she'll come on the extra time, but I also think she'll come on earlier because, like we know, she's tall. She's one of them that can attack in the box, and we need the tall players. Yeah, we've got Leah, we've got Millie, who can both. Obviously, Millie can jump high and head the ball, and also we know from Lucy Bronze's goal how if we can get Lucy Bronze in the right space, she can head it into the back of the net from afar. So I think Jill is one of them players that you would love to see, and especially at Wembley and it being a final. And in my head, I'm also thinking that this could be her last Euros. So for her to win the gold medal at Wembley in front of 87,000+ people, it's going to be insane. And for her to also say, right, I'm out of here. I'm done. This is my last Euros. That's going to be insane. And obviously, we're not speculating. We don't know if she is retiring, if she isn't. We don't know that. But I can obviously she's going to be the second highest England player to have played, I think, for us, because I know Farah is first. So in probably Jill's head, she's thinking, can I go on and beat Farah in terms of appearances for England? But she's also thinking of herself, and she knows that youngsters are coming up in her position that can play in her position, that are quicker in her position. And I don't think she really cares that she's on the bench. I think she's just happy being there and being part of the whole squad. So for me, if we end up seeing Beth England, Lotte Ruben-Moy, who haven't played.
Oh yeah, about her. I totally forgot she's in the squad.
And Demi Stokes. And obviously you've got the two goalkeepers, Ellie Roebuck and Hannah Hampton, who haven't played yet. Yeah. So you've got 5 players who haven't played, who are in the squad. Like if we think, right, Jill can be that extra player in extra time, and we bring on Beth England to help with that attacking, then I would be happy with that, and I think Jill would be. But I think Jill would want to get on and get playing at Wembley. So for me, Jill's one of them that it's going to be a great atmosphere for her to come on at Wembley. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be one of them that I think if we end up winning, she's going to get emotional. I think we all will get emotional if we win. And I think from her point of view, to her to see from 2009 final against Germany to now, like tomorrow's final, the amount of the impact that we've done from, like, in terms of the women's football and how well it is and how well it's gone forward. It's down to the pioneering lionesses, and Jill Scott is one of them. She got it in, like, she brought it to the TV in that aspect with the other lionesses in 2009. So I think that she's just going to be happy that she's going to get another, either a runners-up medal or a winners medal. And I think we've got the squad to go out there and win it. And for me, Jill Scott is definitely a person who we'll need in the squad, and I'm glad that she is actually part of it for the experience in terms of tournaments wise as well, because she's been to dozens of tournaments, whereas Leicester, Tuna, a few of the others, it's their first major tournament that isn't in the under 21s and the under 18s. This is their first major senior tournament, and it's going to help them progress to get into the World Cup next year in Australia. So again, it'll be good to see her participate in the final, even if it is just for a couple of minutes. Like we've said, she does deserve it.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, I've just been looking as well, because there's a little finger off the back of my head, another thing to throw in when we discuss about who should be playing or who should be on the pitch. Wembley is one of the biggest pitches in the world when it comes to football. Obviously, all football pitches aren't the same size, but it isn't the biggest. It's one of the biggest. Just reading about the dimensions there, because in my head I thought it was the biggest. I was going to say, well, you need to consider about that distance again. And we noticed when, like, the United girls played at Old Trafford, initially there was an element of fatigue there, and also working out dimensions of crosses and how far the ball's going to bounce and all this kind of stuff. Kind of same thing sort of happened when they played against Austria as England. But actually, just reading that by about a yard, Old Trafford is actually slightly bigger. And actually Molineux is also quite big, apparently. But there's a complete weird geeky thing as I've just come around. The biggest pitch is in the Premier League. Who do you think has the biggest? That's bigger than Wembley.
Bigger than Wembley?
The pitch, not the stadium, the pitch.
City.
What are you saying, Maisy?
Anfield.
City.
Wow.
Anfield has one of the smallest, apparently. But yeah, so maybe United girls are the good ones, because obviously we played at Etihad, and obviously City have as well in that game a couple of years ago. But it's just an interesting dimension. Again, the pitches are much bigger that they've been playing on, and compared to some of the WSL pitches that we're used to at Boreham Wood and Kings Meadow and other dives in the WSL. The park in Liverpool that's called Everton. It's totally different thing. But I don't think that would change what I was saying anyway. I think that Jill Scott would come on the latter parts. I just think hopefully tomorrow is going to be it's going to be emotional for everybody. Obviously me and Chloe are going to be there at Wembley. Obviously wish you were there as well, Maisy. It's the idea, I don't even want to let myself think about the idea of being there physically when they lift the trophy. First time since 1966 any England men or women's team has lifted a trophy of any kind, really, if you don't include the stupid She Believes Cup and the Arnold Clark. Let's be honest, we're talking about proper trophies here. And there's something quite poetic that obviously the men have failed over the years, so don't send a man when a woman can do a job better, kind of situation. And so I like the idea of the first one being, in years' time, what was the next major tournament that England won? Well, actually, it was Lionesses in 2022. I love that being in the history books. And I think with Serena, as I said, we have a chance because she's just got a winning mentality, from Holland and from obviously taking them to it last time. I feel really confident with Serena, and even some of these like journos that have jumped on the bandwagon the last few days that aren't following women's football. People like The Last Leg and other sort of mainstream journos. Everyone's saying, I think something that you sent me from Capital as well, Chloe Radio. It was really weird watching an England team go 1-0 up and not sit back and actually continue to attack. And I'm like, yes. That's the kind of football that I like. I like what's successful in the women's game. Like obviously, most notably with USA. You just attack from full 90. And like you saw when they played Thailand famously in the World Cup, you keep your foot on the neck from minute 1 to the 90, and hopefully that's what we'll continue to do tomorrow. Which still sounds weird and cool to say tomorrow is the final, but I am going to be nervous until we get that first goal. I know we'll go into predictions in a minute, but I think I've got a few ideas on that, definitely.
Yes. So I'll go through a couple of the comments as well. Hello to Lewis Potter, Super B. 3-2 for England. Mead scored 2. Russo with the 3rd. Nice to see that you're rating a Man United player. Hey there to I Like Coffee. I hope that you are well. And I'll do this final question as well from my dad is, who's your top 5 England players for the tournament? I'm going to go for my 5 first of all, and then we'll see what everyone else does. Kira Walsh for me is going to be... I'm not going to do it in no particular order. 1 is going to be Kira Walsh for me. 2nd one is going to be Millie Bright. 3rd one's going to be Beth Mead. 4th one is going to be Leslie Russo. And the 5th one, I'm going to go with Lucy Bronze. Let's go with you now, Andy. What are you going to go for?
Oh, you missed her out. The first one I'm going to mention, Mary Earps. I know it's only narrow 5.
The only reason why I didn't go with Earps is because with the group stages, she was a lot. Not that she was more comfortable. She didn't have as much to do.
No, it's true.
So that's why I went with the other players. Otherwise, if she had more to do in the groups, I would have gone for her.
No, I know. I'm only joking. Mary Earps, Lucy Bronze, Beth Mead, Alicia Russo. You get to your 4. Your 5th one, you could do Lauren Hemp quite easily. You could do Ella Toon. You could do Kira Walsh, as you mentioned. But I'd probably go for Lauren Hemp.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what about you, Chloe?
Beth Mead, Lucy Bronze, Leah Williamson, Lesser, and I would say Kira Walsh as well. I think them 5, they've shone through the tournament and they've just played outstanding throughout. And reason why I picked Leah was because the way she's led the team as well. Like she's had to adapt to being captain in her first major Euros tournament, and she's also had to adapt to playing centre back and not in midfield. Because if you look on any of the fantasy teams or the players like the England squad, she's listed as a midfielder, so she's actually playing as centre back. So for me, she's just shone throughout the tournament, and hopefully she'll get that reward in terms of that she'll lift a trophy tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So what I thought I'd do before we do our score predictions is to do a combined 11 with Germany versus England. I'm looking forward to this one.
See what I should have done? I'm giving away my secrets here. I should have done equal lineups, and then I get Chloe to go first, and I basically nick hers and just change a little bit of it because my knowledge isn't strong enough for each individual position. But we're doing combined, so I'll have to scream my head. All right.
Mine is a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a little bit easy on. I've got it as white because both the home teams are white, so makes it a bit easier, doesn't it, for the shirt colours? But let's go first of all with the goalkeeper. Everyone as well, get in the chat. Goalkeeper for England versus Germany. Who should go in? Mine for me, easily, Mary Earps. What about you, Andy?
Oh, I was about to say Frome, believe it or not, because she's probably done a lot more. We've seen a lot more of her. I honestly think, I don't know if Chloe's got a coin near it, you could almost toss a coin because they're probably equally as strong. They're literally.
Score an own goal.
If it was a video game, or stats on FIFA, it should have exactly the same stats all the way through.
Let me just get the stats up about the saves, because if I'm not mistaken, England has actually made more saves than Germany. So let me just double check on that.
Who's had more clean sheets? Have we had more clean sheets?
We've had the same amount of clean sheets.
That's what I mean. It's so close.
Yes. So total goals conceded, both for 1. And in terms of the goals, saves and penalties, so England's had 10 saves, Germany's had 7 saves.
Oh, okay. So yes, it would be Mary Earps, and I was pendulum swinging, but should we go for Mary then?
What about you, Chloe? What are you gonna go for?
If we're going off our own choices, I think it would be in my starting 11. I would have Mary Earps.
So Earps is going to be, and everyone's saying Earps in the chat as well. So Earps is going to be, without a doubt. So we'll go on to the right back now, and that's obviously going to be out of Gwyn and Lucy Bronze. We'll go with you, Chloe. Who are you going to go for?
Lucy Bronze. Easy.
What about you, Andy?
I don't know if I'm suddenly turning German, but she was wobbly before she scored the goal against Sweden. I said that to you, Chloe. You said it was because of the pace. She wasn't used to pace. So you agreed. So even much as you're doing that, you agreed with what I was saying at the time. She looked very wobbly.
I agreed that with the pace, but I don't think she was wobbly. I think she was outrun by Blackstenius.
Okay. Go on. You can make the deciding vote, Maisy. I'll go for the opposite.
Gwyn. Okay. Well, Bronze was one of my most best players, so I'd have to go with Bronze. Okay. But hey there, Foxy as well, who's in the chat. He's glad it's Germany rather than France. More confident beating them. Ooh, Foxy. I like that. So yeah, Bronze it is. So we'll go on to the left back now. So that is going to be Rauch or Daly. And I'll go with you, Andy. Who are you going to go for?
Daly.
What about you, Chloe?
Rauch.
I was going to go for Rauch as well. Just because there was that 2 games for me at Daly where she wasn't there for me.
Yeah, and Rauch as well. She's very quick.
Yeah.
Down the left hand side, and the cutting in and the crossing as well. She's very good at.
Mhm. Ravi had you Daly as well, Andy. So that's okay. I like coffee. Has said that formation looks like a Christmas tree, and adding players to it is like adding Christmas decorations. Oh, you never fail to make me laugh. I like coffee, honestly. Okay, so I'll go on to the next position now, the centre backs. So there's going to be a numerous of centre backs. So we'll pick 2 centre backs each, and then whoever's got the highest then. So that's going to be out of Bronze, Williamson, Henrich, and Hegerin. For me, I'm gonna have to go with both our centre backs actually, Bright and Williamson. I just think they both work very well together. Not discrediting Hegerin, because I think if one of them wasn't playing, I probably would have put Hegerin in, but I couldn't remove both the centre backs because they've both been outstanding in that England play, and they've worked very well in the interceptions and the tackling and picking up possession. What about you, Andy? Who are you going to go for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our captain as well. Bright and Williamson have been seasonal United, a recycled United thing. The rock or the rocks that are at the back really, and obviously it's that as well as what she brings from a skill point of view. Bright's really stocky and a little bit taller. So I think she always needs to be in any starting 11.
Mm-hmm. So you go with both our England centre-backs?
Yeah.
What about you, Chloe? I think
both of our England centre-backs are my choice as well, Bright and Williamson. The German centre-backs, they are good. They're very good in the box in terms of going in and doing their corners, doing the German corners. But we can outpace them very well if we time it right. But yeah, and Bright and Williamson for me as well.
I must say as well, in terms of Millie Bright, there has been some games where she has never lost possession when she's headed. She's won all her headed duels. And that was, one of them was at Old Trafford, then I think there was another game. I think it was Spain. And to have that kind of stat as a centre-back, I think is absolutely outstanding. People in the chat, like my dad has said, Bright and Williamson easily. Ravi said Bright could knock people down with her shoulders. Wouldn't want to smash into her. She would do damage, which she would. She's very strong and physical. So we'll go on to the pivot, as it's a 4-2-3-1. Maisy, calm down. I hate 4-2-3-1s. But
this is the guy who's doing it isn't Skinner.
True.
So it's all right. It's fine. I can see it's beneficial. I don't know if you saw the interview that he did with the little girl, and he just appeared.
That's true.
like a really crap sort of pop-up. It's like kind of thing, and it was just it was the funniest thing, and it was really sweet actually, and the kid loved it, and she's going to meet the United players. But Skinner, it's going to take me a month to get ready for you again in September.
So we'll do 2 players from the pivot, and that's going to be out of Williamson. Walsh, Stanway. It's going to be out of Dabritz and Oberoff. And if I was going to pick my 2, I'd have to go for Walsh and Dabritz. I think Dabritz has been very well in the midfield. She's really helped the flow of the play for Germany, and Walsh is for me probably arguably the best player for England. So that would be my midfield 2. What about you, Chloe?
This is actually a really tough one. I would probably say Keira Walsh in terms of being a defensive midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the defensive midfielder for Germany?
I think it's Oberoff.
Is it Oberoff?
And then the Brits is the box to box.
Yeah. Just in the way that she's played for me, I think Oberoff, she's good, but I think Keira Walsh is just that more tactical and she pressures a lot more than Oberoff. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually gonna go for Georgia Stanway. I think in the terms of that she can shoot from outside the box, but she's also very aggressive and she can get into areas that I don't think the Brits can. The Brits is a good player. She is. And she can shoot from outside the area, but I just think that Georgia Stanway is just that much more clinical than the Brits is. So for me, Keira Walsh and Georgia Stanway.
What are you going for, Andy?
Keira Walsh, for what everyone said in relation to the sort of stabiliser in midfield, the link between midfield and attack is strong. I agree with Stanway as an option, but I would say, I can't say a word, Oberstdorf.
Yeah.
Apart from anything else, because she's a name who keeps coming up as a massive threat.
So now we're in a split in a 3 now.
For Germany.
So we'll do a poll in the chat for that one.
Well, this is it, because she's seen as a big threat. I'll be honest, in relation to what I've seen Germany play, I saw Germany-Austria and I saw Germany-Spain. I probably had a better chance at what Germany, not Germany-Austria. I saw Germany-France even. And I saw Germany-Spain. I was at the stadium for the Germany-Spain game, so I was more focused on Spain because I wanted them to win. And obviously I did the watch-alongs and more chance of analysis, so I'm not as strong on the individual players for Germany. But I have just heard a lot of chatter about Oberstdorf and how she's a threat and how she's one of the best players that they have. So I definitely, based on that alone, would put her along with Keira Walsh.
Okay, because we've all gone for a different 3. I'm going to put a poll in the chat. So I'll do it till the end of this 11, and then whatever's the highest vote, that's going to go in. So we'll go now on to the left back, and the left back is either Bull or it's going to be Hemp. And for me, it's got to be Hemp, in my opinion anyway. What are you going to go for, Andy?
Hemp. It has to be the attacking threat. Though she's been a bit nullified recently. Unfortunately, she was on fire at Ellen Road, which is a friendly. That's. I think a lot of the opposing managers have sort of saw that option that we were sort of starting all our attacks through her. But hopefully she can shake them off a little bit. Definitely Lauren Hemp.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Chloe?
I would say Lauren Hemp only because she's played a lot more. I think Bull, she's obviously she's out with COVID, and we haven't seen her play, and I don't think we've seen her at her best. So yeah, Lauren Hemp for me.
Mm-hmm. Good evening to you, Andrew. I hope you're well. Go Lionesses, he says. Yep, looking forward to the game. So we'll go on to the right wing now. We've done right back. We're going to go for the right wing, and that's our Huff and Beth Mead. I think we all know what we're going to say.
Beth Mead.
Catch a bit of time up there. It's obvious.
Well, obvious. It is obvious. So, so that's it. And then we'll go on to the number 10 role. So that's Kirby, Tuna, Magul is another one. What are you going to go for, Chloe?
I'm going to go with Tuna. I
thought you'd go opposite.
I think for Tuna, I think the way she's come on and gone and played how she's played, it's just shown us that she's the way she plays for United. It's not like that hasn't changed. And her coming on as a super sub and her scoring that goal, that equalising goal against Spain, it's just one for me. It's just one of them that I can see her being in the squad, and I'm glad she is. But yeah, for me, it's Tuna.
What are you gonna go for, Andy?
Good job, Chloe. Good job, Chloe, sitting down because she probably wouldn't expect. I'll wait for her to drink because she might spit it out when I say this.
I know who.
Because of what's happened in the sense of minutes played and marginally, I would say Frank Kirby. Just to see, I had to wait for her to drink there. I should choke. They're not a million miles away from each other. You're essentially choosing between, Cake and Peter. I love both of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not there's not a massive drop. But I've heard mentioned, but again, I think Kirby. Maybe if we had these sort of theoretical subs, then you would have it as it is. Serena probably will have Tooney on as a sub, but yeah, it's like Frank Kirby.
I had my goal from Germany for my number 10, just because I think the connection what her and Pop has been absolutely outstanding.
Probably is. It probably is. Almost.
And I think that she has really carried that midfield around. So we've gone for a separate three again. So I'll do another poll. In the chat. The poll, what we've got here, Stanway's winning that by a clear margin. So we'll put Stanway there in the midfield. So who had Stanway? Was it you? Was it you, Andy?
No, it was a person that's doing this, and it ain't me. It's Chloe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm sure
getting used to winning.
About that one.
Hopefully, she'll win tomorrow as well. As in, like we all will, and England will win. I don't want to, because we're all going to be getting these souvenirs, like there's a scarf you can get and a commemorative sort of, program and all this kind of stuff. But if Germany spanked us 5-0, I don't ever want to remember it. So hopefully, it's gonna be worth remembering.
Yeah, I'll put the poll on anyways whilst we do the number 10. While we do the striker. But striker, Russo. It has to be. It's Russo for me. As much as I think that Pop has been sensational, which she has, I'd just have to go for Russo based off what she's done coming off the bench. She still had a fair few minutes, and if she played more minutes, I think she could have got a whole lot more goals. If she's already got 1 or 2 assists, she's got 4 goals. So she's already got a goal, scored and assisted in 5 games out of 6. That's just outstanding for me as a substitute. So it's Russo, but Pop is very, very close. What are you gonna go for, Andy?
My gut feeling initially was Pop, because of the fact that she kind of has carried a lot of the German team when it comes to when they did wobble a bit against Spain, and the sort of threat that she gives, and that goal that she did, in the semi-final was top notch. But is it harder to be in the chance? Is it harder to play every game pretty much like she's done? Or come off the bench and nearly be going for the golden boot, which is obviously what Russo's done. Well, yeah, it is. So by that alone, you've got to go for Russo. So I agree with you. But again, I think it is really, really close.
Completely. Chloe, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Russo just on the way that she's come off the bench, and she's just shown that she does deserve to be in the starting 11, but she knows that coming off the bench, she's the super sub, and she's going to get the minutes and she's going to get the game time. And yeah, like we've all said, Pop is fantastic. She's inspirational to many girls, obviously back in Germany, in the way that she's come back from injury. She's not give up, and she's going to go and try and win that tournament and win the trophy. But yeah, Russo by a mile for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think mine was just so close. I know a lot of people are praising Pop in the chat, and I do think that Pop has been outstanding. And I think if it wasn't for what she's been coming off the bench, I would have put Pop on. But Raz, we're not being biased; it's just our opinion. And
we'll find out. Well, I was about to say we'll find out this time tomorrow. I suppose I need to amend it. We would have found out, because if it's this late, we would have been going to penalties. So we don't want that. But yeah, hopefully we'll know the answer to that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And the chat poll, I said Tuna for 71%. So she's going to be our number 10 role. So let's get that changed. So we've got our combined 11 here. So we've got Earps in goal, Rauch, Williamson, Bright, Bronze, midfield, Walsh and Stanway, midfield 3, Heb 2, Mead, up front Russo. You both happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Perfect then. Yeah, so that's all been done. And we'll do our score prediction before we wrap up. What are you going to go for, Andy, for your score?
It's not just a turn of phrase. I think this is going to be one of the hardest games to predict. There's so many different days I've got in my head of us having tomorrow. I've got a day where, actually it's very, very tight and we beat them 1-0. I've got a situation where we go to penalties and lose. I've got, various different things going on in my head. I'm pretty confident that if we win, we can't let a goal in against Germany. I don't see a situation where Germany's going to go 1-0 up and we win. I just don't see that happening. I think we can win and they get a goal back, so a 3-1 or a 2-1. But my gut feeling is for an England win, which obviously I'm going to go for because I have to, and that's what I want in my heart. I'm thinking 2-0 England.
Mm-hmm. Chloe, what are you going to go for?
I can't see Germany not scoring. I can't see that happening. It's going to be a very tactical, aggressive game. And it's going to be both teams are going to play defensive, and both teams are going to go out there and go to win. Obviously, that's what you've got to do. But for me, my goal prediction is going to be 3-1 England.
3-1 England, okay. For me, I think it's going to be one of them where, how can I compare it? A bit like a ping pong, where you're going boop, 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 boop. I think that's what it will end up being like in a kind of way. So for that reason, I've gone for a 3-2 for England. I think this is going to be both teams are going to concede in one game. And I think it's going to be 3-2. I think we'll see a goal off Mead, and I think we might see a goal off a couple of others who knows. But we'll do our guaranteed goal scorers as well. I like Offie's gone for 2-1. He thinks Chloe Kelly's going to score. And my dad's gone 3-1 for England as well. So, guaranteed goal scorer, I've already said it. I'm going to go with Beth Mead. I think she's going to want to be like, yeah, I want to break that record. So, Beth Mead for me. What are you going to go for, Andy, for your goal scorer?
I mean, Beth Mead's a very strong shout. I think you could definitely go with her to probably try and avoid us all three going for Beth Mead. I don't know why I'm doing this because I need all the points I can get to beat Chloe. But just because I just dissed her and called her a butter knife, maybe Ellen White. I don't see I'm laughing even at the suggestion. But you know what? Maybe that'll be the thing. I can just see her. And then all the City fans will talk about how she scored the winner and I wouldn't even care. But still, maybe Ellen White.
Right, okay. What are you going to go for, Chloe?
So I've got like a few in my head, but the one that I've gone with from the start of the tournament for England, and obviously who I wear on the back of the shirt, I'm going to go for Beth Mead.
Okay, interesting. So we'll put Mead. Are you sure you don't want to change anything before we wrap up?
No, it makes it more interesting, I suppose, if all three haven't got the same. But obviously, I want to be wrong on that. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. I could both play for England, so I suppose either score. I just know after me spending 20 minutes talking about how she's as dangerous as a pocket knife, she's going to have the best game in her life. Hopefully, a reverse jinx, and score tomorrow.
Yeah. Andrew's gone for 1-1 England to win on pens. Hope not with pens, but. As it stands with points, I've got 40 points, so I'm guaranteed winner. Here's the crown. Andy's on 34 points and Chloe's on 36 points. So Chloe's in second now. Hey there as well to Ashunman. I hope you are well. So we'll wrap it up here now. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chloe, for both coming on. It's been great having you both on as well. Enjoy the game tomorrow because I know you'll be both watching it live.
Yeah.
For you, Andy, would you like to shout out your socials as well?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It's always fun. I love doing the things that we do on here. It's a great channel. I think, obviously my social is just my personal Twitter, which is at AJ_87 at the moment. Mm-hmm. And we'll find out tomorrow, obviously, what the score is and how it goes. And to be an England fan, eh?
Oh yeah, trust me, but you couldn't have it any other way. We're
only traveling down on the same day, going across London to dump our stuff, to then get an Uber to the stadium, and then God knows how long that's going to be, and then get back. So it's going to be a hell of a day, and hopefully it ends with a trophy lid.
Exactly. You'll enjoy it, and to see it live, that's brilliant. Chloe, where can we find you?
So my socials is Chloe Riley 14 on Twitter. Can't wait for tomorrow at Wembley. Obviously, gutted you can't be there, Maisy. I will mention that if England do win, I will be getting a tattoo of
it's on film now. You can't get out of it. Of what? Yeah. Sorry.
I will be getting a tattoo of the trophy and obviously the date and the lionesses underneath.
Where are you getting it done?
On my shoulder. So.
Don't laugh. Where's that come from?
What made you think to get it? Just to ask.
I don't know. I think just in my head I thought, what's one thing that I could predict that England, if England do win, get a tattoo. I've always wanted a tattoo, and if I get that one, then it'll be
fair, yeah, it'll be a hell of a memory. To be fair, you said that before Old Trafford, so I think this isn't like a bandwagon thing, and it's been one of the best memories I've had, obviously with Chloe and others, the last few weeks, and it is a very special summer and a very special July already. So I can see the appeal, but if you've noticed, I've not committed to anything similar. But I'm happy to signal boost Chloe. So yeah, she did make the decision before we played our first game, to be fair.
Well, good luck. And Chloe, you've got to have it filmed. Film it on Facebook Live. Or Instagram Live, how you watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, we need to get a Twitter Live, or you can do it on live on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, on YouTube, that's what I'd say. Yeah, YouTube Live.
I'll get it. I'll get if we do win it. I'll get it done in Barca.
Okay.
Well, that's a shame because I'll miss it. I'll miss that live. But
We'll do it live stream on Maisy's YouTube channel.
Thank you both for coming on. I'll be next live on Monday. I'll be doing my player profile on Donny van de Beek at Everton. I'll be live again on Tuesday. I'll be doing my player profile on Amad Diallo. Reese will be coming on for that one, so you'll be able to see him on there. And I've got Matt coming on for the Donny van de Beek profile, so go and check us out for that. Got quite a few things planned for next week. So good luck for tomorrow. Enjoy the game, Andy and Chloe. And 3 more words I'm going to say. It's coming home. It is coming home.
Well, and the other words that Chloe should say, but she only does it to me, is inside voice, Maisy, until...
Inside.
I won't be singing it or I like coffee. I won't sing it unless I'm very drunk. I'll catch you all later. See you soon. Bye-bye.